this is Wolfie Chew, and I've been thinking lately about the job interviews I've had in the past, and I remember just how terrible I am at them. Even though I'd always try to look confident, I was never very good at hiding how nervous I felt. I've been to a lot of different places looking for jobs in the past, but a lot of the times where I went to interviews, I'd have the same problem. I felt like a lot of people didn't really take me seriously, I guess because I didn't look or sound my age. There were a few bad job interviews in particular that I remember having that I wanted to talk about. I remember the first job interview I had after moving to Australia. It was in this little nearby cafe. I was looking for any kind of work back then, and I thought that working in the cafe sounded like something that I could do. It didn't sound like a hard job. I thought it could be nice to work somewhere like that. On the day of the interview, even though I walked into the cafe feeling pretty nervous, I tried to convince myself that it was going to be fine, I could do this job, and all that they were going to do was ask me a few simple questions. But I couldn't get thoughts out of my head like, what if I was going to be taken into somewhere like an interrogation room where they would shine a light in my face while demanding answers to their questions? That thought made me even more nervous. But then the guy appeared and he called me over to a table in the cafe to just sit casually with him, so that turned out nothing like what I feared. So the interview starts off fine. The guy was just making a little bit of small talk, and I felt like I could relax a little because he seemed friendly enough. I noticed that he seemed to have a permanent smile on his face. I guess he was just a really happy person. But then all of a sudden his face changes from the usual smile to completely serious, and he asked me, "Tell me the name of every type of coffee you know." I don't even drink coffee, so my mind went blank and I could only think of like 2 different names of coffee. I realized then that I was applying for a job at a cafe and I had no idea about anything to do with coffee or how to make it. The guy did not look impressed. He really didn't seem so happy like before. Maybe he was actually really passionate about coffee, so having someone like me trying to come work at his cafe was almost an insult. I thought that I blew the interview for sure. But then, out of the blue, he asked me if I like anime. I was so surprised, and I felt this little glimmer of hope thinking that maybe we'd somehow connected. But then he turned his laptop around and I felt my stomach sink as he showed me the email I wrote to him, and I saw that my avatar was the picture of an anime girl. I'd completely forgotten that I still had that picture. I was really embarrassed. I didn't even know what to say. I kind of just awkwardly waited for him to change the subject. Needless to say, I didn't get that job. Another job interview I had was in a second-hand store where they sold things like video games, DVDs, and CDs. I thought that this could be a good job because the last job I had before this was in a supermarket, and this place was a lot less busy, so it seemed like working here would probably feel pretty easy. I just had a long day of looking around for jobs, and I went into the store feeling hopeful. The manager in there told me that they were looking for people to hire, and he started to interview me right away. It was all normal at first, but then, right when I thought the interview was over, he says that he has one very important question to ask me. He said, "If an alien was about to attack you right now, what kind of pose would you take?" This question caught me completely off guard since he seemed so professional before, but he looked completely serious. I awkwardly did this little pose because I didn't know what else to do. The guy just nods and says, "Defensive cactus." Nice. And he writes it down on my resume. I don't know if he did that to kind of lighten up the mood since it was probably really obvious that I was nervous, but I just found it really weird, especially since it was the last question he asked me before finishing up the interview. Maybe he really did have aliens chasing after him and he needed some advice. I hope it helped. Then there was this other interview I had at a restaurant. I thought that this place would be great because it was so close to where I live I could easily just walk to work each day. So I went there, but I found that the door was locked even though they were supposed to be open at that time. I decided to check around the back just in case, and I found the manager carrying some boxes in. When I told him why I was there, he asked me to go around the front and he'd open the door. So I ran back around the front and got inside, but I don't know what it was about the restaurant, but I instantly felt really weird being in there. It was dead quiet. There were all of these empty tables and chairs. Nobody was there. It made me feel really uneasy, like I wasn't supposed to be there. I know it sounds stupid, but I started to feel kind of scared. It felt like when you walk into a random creepy area of a video game, like the Strange House in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. Suddenly the manager popped out from behind the counter, which made me jump, and I felt like I couldn't just leave, so I walked over to him. It was strange though. He seemed really chatty at first, but now he was being really quiet and had the most blank look on his face. It was like he was a different person now. I kind of felt like he didn't even want me in there. He started asking me a couple of questions, but I was feeling more and more uncomfortable by the weird vibes I was getting. The man's face was still really blank. He just stood there staring at me dead in the eyes. I was actually purposely answering questions kind of badly because for the first time, I really did not want my interview to go well. I did not want to work there. He was asking me things like, would you be able to do tasks like washing the dishes and cleaning around the restaurant? And I'd just be like, maybe sometimes? Luckily, I wasn't in there too long. I left that place as quickly as I could without running. I was worried that I was gonna get a call back from them because the man said he would, but he never did, so that was good. And those were some of the worst and weirdest job interviews I've had. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see my works in progress and get your own special little badge to appear next to your name when you comment, then I hope you'll consider becoming a member of my channel. The join button is right next to the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Bye!